Moin moin and welcome to Ralfs Foto-Bude. Some days ago I presented a real nice camera, the big DSLR Nikon D810 full frame 36 megapixel. Yeah, that's a real heavy toy. And today, today I will show you the opposite, a real small nice camera just for your pocket to take it any way you want to your holiday or hiking or something like this. So, and what camera is it? It's the Sony CyberShot DSC-RX100 Mark III. Yes, the RX100 is still some time on the market. There was the number 2, and the change in the number 2 was that they had a flash shoe, and not only a flash shoe, but there you can put in an external electronic viewfinder. It was a real nice idea, but the external viewfinder was also quite expensive. So camera plus viewfinder was a real expensive package. So I think they didn't sell many of the electronic viewfinders. But in my opinion, if you want to take real good pictures and if you want a little bit more than just shooting by, you have to have a viewfinder, because the viewfinder is the best option when it's the sun is bright outside and you want to make the picture real. You want not only shooting, but you want set the focus point on a certain area and something like this. Then you need a viewfinder. So, and what could be the news of the RX100 Mark III? Yes, you're absolutely right. If you look at the side of the camera, you will find a small button here which says Finder, and when you pull the button down, exactly here is the electronic viewfinder. It says pull, move a little bit this direction, and here is the electronic viewfinder. On top of the viewfinder you have the diopter correction here for people who take glasses, so that's also built in the electronic viewfinder. Talking about the quality of the viewfinder, okay, for sure it's not a 2.4 million dot viewfinder, but it still has a nice picture, smooth, and you won't see the single dots. It's sharp, brilliant. You can also see the menus in the viewfinder, and in my opinion it's absolutely enough to take nice pictures and work with the manual focus or set the focus point on a certain area. So for all these cases and all these situations, this electronic viewfinder is absolutely perfect, and it works absolutely perfect. At the viewfinder you have the control, the eye control. So if you put the eye in front of the viewfinder, the picture changed from the control monitor up to the viewfinder, to the electronic viewfinder. Talking about the monitor, yes, it's still a turnable monitor. You can move it in the directions like this, and that's also new compared to the RX100 II. You have a selfie function with the monitor. You can move up the monitor like this, and if you want, you get a 3-second self timer. So if you press the button, you have 3 seconds to get him a big smile, and here we are. Yeah, give me a smile, and here we are with the selfie function. You can shut off these 3 seconds self timer function. In the menu you have all the options to change these settings in the menu. Yes, but I like the selfie function of this monitor, and I like that you can move the monitor up like this for a selfie function. I don't know how long the people will take selfies, but now it's a big deal to have this selfie function here. Again, you have the front dial for the different settings of the camera. If you go like to the shutter speed, to the S mode here on the program dial, when you turn the front dial, you can change the shutter speed very fast and very easy. If you are in the A mode for aperture, you can change the aperture by turning the front dial. And here you see the minimum aperture is 1.8 and the maximum or the smallest aperture is 11. Talking about the aperture, we are at the lens of the RX100 Mark III, and there are some changes compared to the RX100 II. The RX100 II starts at 28 mm in the wide angle, and goes up to 100 mm in the telephoto, and the Mark III starts at 24 mm. So you get a little bit more wide angle, 4 mm more wide angle, but the value is only 70 mm. So you have, it's not exactly, but you have almost a 3.0 telezoom, and the older one has a 3.6 time telezoom, so you get a little bit less millimeter in the telephoto in the tele, but I think it's still enough. 70 mm is still enough for a nice portrait, and I love the 24 mm for landscape, so that's a real good reason for me that I prefer the Mark II instead of the II, because I love to have wide landscapes, and therefore is the 24 mm real good. Talking about the aperture, when you look at the front lens, you will see that it starts at f1.8 and goes up to f2.8 in the telephoto area, and in the wide angle it starts with 1.8. So that's also a little bit better than the older one, the RX100 II, which I think starts also at 1.8 but goes up to 5.6 in the telephoto area. So so that's quite a little bit better, the lens, and gives you a little bit more depth play, it gives you a little bit more chance to play with the depth of field, and that's what I love. Looking at the top of the camera, you will see that there is a small button to release the flash, and if you release the flash, there's no external flash shoe for sure, because you have the viewfinder, so that's one is gone compared to the number 2, but you have the built-in flash, and you can move up the built-in flash a little bit towards the ceiling, so you can give him a little bit indirect flash, and in my opinion it's absolutely enough if you want to take portrait in the bright sun and you want to light up the face a little bit, so that's enough, the built-in flash. On the top of the camera we have the different program settings on the program dial, starting with P program, A aperture, S shutter speed, M manual. Then we have memory recall, we have 3 settings, 3 individual settings. Then we have the film function, we have the panorama function, scene modes, intelligent automatic, and the intelligent plus automatic. So these are the usual settings which every Sony in this class has, so that's not a surprise, and that's absolutely enough. You don't need more than this. Going to the back side of the camera, we have the FN button, and with the FN button we get the I call it quick menu, because we have here the most important settings. You can individualize this. You can individualize this in the menu. I show you later. You have options to put the upper 6 and the lower 6 functions to your needs, and so that's very nice. Talking about the ISO setting, ISO starts at 125 and the low ISO settings are 180. We have auto ISO, and the highest ISO setting is 12,800. so there's no there's no change to the former model. Still 20 megapixel sensor, a little bit bigger sensor than in the normal compact class, so you have a little bit more options to play with the depth of field. The sensor is not quite as big as a Micro Four Thirds sensor, but it comes very close to a Micro Four Thirds sensor. Having a look in the menus. The menus are still like the menus you find in the DSLR or SLTs of Sony, and you will find in the Alpha 6000 or in the Alpha series. So the menus are still the same, and I think they get a better menu structure than some years before, which was very complicated. Now I think it's a little bit better, easy. You still have a lot of options, but it's better to understand and you can learn it very fast. Starts with the camera menu. Image size, you have different options, 20, 10 and 5 megapixel. Then you have the aspect ratio, the different settings, sorry for that, the different settings for the aspect ratio. Then you have the quality, and there for sure you have RAW plus JPEG and the different JPEG settings. Then you have the file format for video, and you have the recording setting, and here you can go up to 50p or to 60p. You will get 60p if you change from PAL to NTSC. That goes here in the last menu. Here you have here you can change between PAL and NTSC, and if you change to NTSC, you will have 60p also. So, okay, then we have the drive mode, single shooting, continuous shooting. You have the different self-timer functions, and that's what I mentioned for every Sony camera. If you have the menu here on the side and you have a small arrow on the left or on the right side of one of the buttons here, you can toggle with the four-way button to the different settings here. So each time when you see a small arrow, there are more options you can choose from. So that's very important to know. That's not only one option, but there are some more options. You have the flash mode, flash compensation, red eye reduction. And then you have the different focus modes, starting with autofocus single, continuous DMF. That's a combination of autofocus and manual focusing, and you have for sure the manual focus, where we have the different focus assistants like the peaking function. Okay, so focus area, here we have the different settings, wide, center and the flexible spot, and as I said before, the small arrow gives you the hint. Here you have different settings, large, medium and small. Then we have the AF eliminator, exposure compensation, ISO and ND filter. We have a built-in ND filter. That's real nice if you want to shoot with a big aperture outside, and so you can use the ND filter. Metering mode, white balance, DRO and auto HDR. That's dynamic range optimization and HDR mode. Creative style, usually that's the picture style. Sony call it creative style. And here you have the different settings like standard, vivid, natural, clear, deep, light, portrait, landscape, and for sure also the black and white setting. So these are the different picture styles. And as I said, Sony call it creative style, and you have the individual settings also. Then we have the picture effect, and in the picture effect we have things like the toy effect or toy camera effect, pop color, poster, retro, soft key, and again here we have different partial colors. The small arrows give you the hint. You can change between yellow, red, green and blue, and so you have lots of different creative styles you can choose from, and I think there are absolutely enough. Long exposure and high ISO noise reduction, smile and face detection, soft skin effect, auto objective framing. That's a nice function. Try this one, you will see how it works. Then we have the steady shot. The steady shot, Sony calls the image stabilizer steady shot, so historical. They call it all the time steady shot. I think it's a little bit confusing because every other brand call it image stabilizer. Only Sony call it steady shot. We have the steady shot for the photo function, and we have the steady shot for the video function, and here we have different settings. The reason why we have different settings, if you want to make a movie and make a turn with the camera from the left to the right, the steady function try to hold or to fix the first point when you make the move, and then it's suddenly makes a jump and it goes faster, so you won't get a smooth turn. And that's the reason why you have the different settings in the steady shot for movie. The intelligent active, that's the one, or active, that's the one you should use, because then the camera only stabilizes the shaking in this direction, but not the shaking in this direction if you want to make turns. Color space, auto slow shutter, and then audio recording, microphone level, and coming up to the setup menu where we have the manual focus assistant, the focus magnifying time, grid line, auto review, display button, where you can make different settings of the display button. Oops, sorry. Where you can make different settings of the display button for the monitor and the finder. Here we have the different settings which you want. You can put in a level meter if you want a level meter. You make a you check it out, you check it, and then if you see, we can press the display button, and then we have the different display settings, and we have also the level meter here. You see that we have the level meter here in the display. So these are the different settings you can make, and you can individualize the different settings for monitor and finder. Peaking level, that's what I said before. If you want to make manual focusing, you have the peaking level, peaking color, exposure set guide, live view display, pre-AF, zoom settings. Here you can set up the automatic change between finder and monitor, self-portrait timer, that's what I said before for the selfies, face registration, write the date, function menu set, that's what I told you before, the upper 6 and the lower 6 functions you can individualize. Then you have the custom key settings for the different rings, for the control ring, the C button here, center button, left, right button you can customize, zoom function on the ring, movie button always or only if you use the video function. Then we come to the Wi-Fi function. Yes, the camera has a built-in Wi-Fi function. You can transmit pictures to your smartphone or to your TV, or you can remote control the camera from your smartphone. So these are the different settings. And yes, we have an NFC chip. So if you have a smartphone with an NFC chip, you can easily connect camera and your smartphone. Here we have the different applications, and in the applications we have the smart remote control, where you can control your camera from your smartphone. Then we have the different replay options, and here we have the setup menu with the monitor brightness, viewfinder brightness, different volume settings, and so on. Here, as I said before, change PAL to NTSC selector, HDMI setting, USB connection, language, date, time, and that's it. One thing, talking about the HDMI connection, we have an HDMI connector here at the side, and we have a multi-connector here. Some of you may know that I fly copters with cameras underneath. I usually fly with the Alpha 6000, but sometimes it's nice to fly with a smaller camera if you only have a quadrocopter. And the big advantage of the Sony camera is that you get a live picture out of the HDMI connector. So if you put the camera in the copter and fly, you have a cable to the transmitter. Either it's an HDMI transmitter or it's an analog transmitter. Then you have to change from HDMI to analog. And on the ground you have a ground station, and there you can see the picture which the camera takes. If you're a little bit more sophisticated, you can control the camera over the multi-switch, and so you can start video and movie from the remote control of your copter, and so you can remote control almost the complete camera. I think it's also possible to make the zoom of the camera from your remote control of the copter. So that's one reason why the RX100 is a real good camera to put it on a copter, because you have the live HDMI out. Not every camera has this one, so that's a real good option here at the Sony. Talking about the picture quality, 20 megapixel sensor, a little bit bigger sensor than the normal compact camera, gives you a little bit more space at the higher ISO settings. You can also use it at ISO 3200, 6.4. 12.8 is a little bit too high. You get less details in the picture, you have noise in the picture, so I think 12.8 is a little bit too high, but 3.2 and 6.4 is absolutely okay. And in the low ISO settings you get real detailed, sharp, crisp, sharp pictures with a nice color saturation. So yes, the picture quality of this small guy here is real good, and I think it's one of the best pocket cameras or pocket size cameras you can get. If you want to see the picture quality by yourself and compare it to other cameras, go to my Flickr account, Ralfs Foto-Bude. I give the link underneath the video, and there you will see lots of test pictures, and you will see the test pictures of the RX100M3, so you can compare it to the different other cameras and make up your own mind how good the picture quality is and if it's enough for you or not. So because I don't think it's a good deal to show picture quality in a video, because you have the low resolution and you cannot see the picture quality in the video real good. So the best choice is you go to the Flickr account, you can download all the pictures there and compare them directly on your computer, and so you have a real good chance to make your own mind about the picture quality of the RX100. Yes, so real nice camera and a real nice step from the number 2 to the Mark III. Usually if you have these small steps from 2 to 3, there are only a few things which get better, and usually there are only some millimeter zoom here and some buttons here. But this step is real nice because one of the nicest thing we have is the electronic viewfinder. I like this one very much. I like it. It gives you a good option to control your picture, very good also if the sun is bright outside. And so I like this viewfinder very much, and the picture quality or the quality of the viewfinder is good enough. And the good thing is you can move it in and the camera is real small. You can put it in your pocket and take it away anywhere you want. Okay, Sony CyberShot RX100M3, 20 megapixel sensor, almost 3 times zoom, 24 to 70 millimeter, built-in electronic viewfinder, built-in flash, turnable screen with selfie function, lots of functions, program modes, manual modes, everything you need. Real nice camera. That's it for today. If you like my video, give me a like. Please subscribe to my channel. In the next days you will see some more videos here on my YouTube channel. Also about another Sony camera, and I compare 5 travel zoom cameras, also with the Sony in the HX60 That's the camera which is in the test of the 5 travel zoom cameras. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching me. And as always, I say bye and moin moin.